Well, hello there, humans, hippies, earthlings, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, and if you're lucky enough indeed to be doing it too. I'm Bushka, welcome back to the channel. And today's a really important video, I think. This is a video about how to do more damage. And I want to break this down into... I think there's something really, really important here that needs to be talked about, because I looked at a lot of the games I have with my mates, and I tend to be the highest damage on the team. Now, there's a few factors in this, and when I looked at the games, I realized that one of the things that I do better than my buddies, for the most part, is target acquisition. And that means I figure out where the gunfire is coming from, and I know where the target is likely to be, and that gives me the opportunity to outlay damage in a more even-handed fashion. The other thing which isn't talked about enough is aggressive players, or players that lead teams and decide on strategy, quite often will be the guys who are capable of putting up big numbers. Now, there is a certain amount of hand-eye coordination involved, and the ability to have decent reflexes and the ability to coordinate those reflexes is very, very important, because without that, you're not going to be able to do much. But I want to speak to a specific couple of things here that are very, very important. Very, very, very important. One is predicting the patterns of behavior in other people. Now, the most obvious one of this is knocks. We've knocked a couple of people. They have to be down there. There's nowhere else for them to be. We put a grin down there and we get all that damage. Look at that. Look at those kills just popping up all across the top of the message board there. That's a whole lot of numbers for me. And that's a whole lot of damage. And that goes up next to my name. But the expected patterns of behavior are so obvious once you've been playing for a while. For instance, we're rotating through the top of Paradise Resort. There is going to be people either poking that door or poking the top area that, you know, overlooks the courtyard. And so we take a lot of damage there, but we do that because that's experience. The same situation, walking up in another game. And this is expected patterns of behavior. I think there is going to be someone up top, and I just eyeball the top. It's like I've got a wall hack. Before the guy even thinks about it, I know he's going to go there. And that is 200 damage to my total right there. All because I expected that behavior from someone. Now, we as humans are very, very predictable in that fashion. And I'll come back to that later. The second thing I want to talk about is the way you acquire targets just in general. Okay. Obviously, there's someone popping up there. I see him, I shoot him. But what really happened in that situation? And you'll see there's another guy down here. I think that's a bot. But again, I'm not really looking in that direction, but I snap to that target and I get it. And the reason is that movement will draw the eye. Now, this is something my good mate JC Ware said to me quite a while ago when we were playing Water Tanks Blitz. That's fairly obvious, this example. And I'm going to give you an obvious example and then a less obvious example. You can see there is someone that has popped up in the middle of the screen. They stand out like, you know, a sore thumb. They're very, very obvious. And we immediately track to that target and we hit it and we get the damage. But what about this? There's a few things going on here in that very, very short clip that I want to talk to you about. When I say movement draws the eye, what I mean is that what I will quite often do is just let the reticle, the sight, whatever it is, rest in the middle of the screen at nothing in particular. Now, this is something you will start doing instinctively and naturally as you become a better player. But if you don't know if this is true or not, go and look at your own gameplay if you've been playing for a while, and you'll notice how often you do this if you record your videos, if you record videos of your gameplay. Now, I'm just going to put the reticle in the middle of the screen here. You're going to see at the top edge of the screen, there is a helmet moving along the grass line that is just on the crest of the hill next to the tree. I'm not looking at that, but I snap to it because that is the only movement on the entire screen, and it becomes obvious, even if it's just a tiny little movement. And this is another reason that if you are used to this, and if you start employing this kind of passive acquisition method, you will be able to see snakes more easily. You will be able to see long-range targets more easily. It's not something I do all the time. Like, I don't always just sit there with the reticle and not move, but every once in a while, you should just zoom in, rest for half a second, zoom out, look around, rest for half a second. And that's how you're going to grab those targets that are right on the edge of your peripheral vision. In fact, one of the reasons I love the 3x scope so much as a long-range target acquisition method is that it's one of the smaller scopes and has so much space around the edge of the screen. Now, you need to experiment with this because obviously different scopes on different devices have different areas. The other thing is, if you're running into a late circle, the cover is where people are going to be. Trees, rocks, buildings, windows. Those are the things you need to look at first and foremost, because those things will give you easy frags. They will give you easy damage. And these are all about getting bigger numbers, right? And before I go and show you some gameplay and talk through an actual game and show you some more examples of this, I want to just talk also about, you saw me get that Gren before. Knocked targets, this is your opportunity. This is really easily the opportunity to pick up those extra bits of damage, okay? If you want to get in and thirst targets, that's great. But when you get a couple of knocks, that's when you push. And that's when you're able to make hit point trades and pick up really easy damage. I mean, expected areas is what's important. There is no way I can see this person down here in the trench because I don't know where they are, but I've seen their footsteps, so I know where they are in general, and that allows me to jump and get the drop on them and get an easy frag. Again, like, patterns of behavior are so obvious once you start running through them. And even more importantly, the game is constantly giving you information via sound. I mean, you can look at cars. Are they spawned there normally? Do they normally spawn in that position? If they don't, then someone's bought that car here. So there's someone in the general vicinity. Where would they be? Start checking out rocks and cover and things like that. Watch this little passage of play here, and I'll actually show you the end of this game on Miramar with the boys, because there's a couple of very, very key examples here. Now, this looks very straightforward, doesn't it? But I want to slow this down for you, and you're going to notice something. And the reason why I pick up all this extra damage in this instance is, number one, I have actually watched that flank and we are gatekeeping. This is not an accident. I'm expecting there to be people coming into this circle, and the hill has a lovely overlook. So I hear the vehicle on the minimap. That means that I immediately start looking at the direction the vehicle's in. I see a knock. That's cool. I see someone alive. I go and get the next bloke until I knock him. As soon as I realize he is knocked, I stop looking at that target. Everyone else goes to shoot the guys that I've knocked. I start looking around, looking for anything else on the map that could be engaging us. And hello, I see movement. Out of the left-hand side of the map, I see that movement, and there is a third person there who is in that squad. And I am going to absolutely pick up an extra 100 hit points worth of damage, because the game told me that the whole squad was not in that first part of the engagement, and that there had to be someone else out there coming from the same direction. So I looked for it, and lo and behold, we got extra damage. We got another 100 hit points on top. There's going to be gunshots pop up, you can see on the mini-map to the east. There's two things that happen here. One is, my first instinct is not to just stand in the middle of a hill and start firing. It's to get to cover. By that, I mean, I want to get to the top of the hill, the crest of the hill, or at least to an area where I'm hiding a great degree of my avatar's body and chest and area like that. And I'm going to do it from behind these two objects there. There's a tree and there's a cactus. Makes it hard, breaks up the sight lines, makes it difficult for them. The first thing I look at is the big rock in the middle of the map. I can't see them, but I'm certain they're going to be there, because an expected pattern of behavior for anyone who is in an open desert is to sit next to a rock, because a rock gives you cover. So the first two shots I hit are absolutely spot on, and this should be a headshot. There is nothing else but head visible for me above there, and it's not a headshot. It's a body shot. I give in. I don't know. Ask me one on sport. This is how you can do more damage. You need to start realizing that everyone does this. And the times when I lose, I've got to tell you, the times when I lose are when there are no angles left to play, when it is just me versus one other guy. And if he's faster than me on the gun, or he has better ping and is also faster than me on the gun, or he just has better ping and is a little bit slower, but that is where I lose. When it is one-on-one and it's just an open field, that is the stuff you will get beaten on. And I like to pride myself on the fact that I try to ignore those situations as often as humanly possible. And that allows me to farm more damage. And it's one of the reasons why in games with my buddies, I am so often the leading scorer in terms of frags and numbers. And it's not always justified either. A lot of it is stuff where, I mean, I can obviously shoot. I've obviously taken the time to play the game enough that I feel very, very comfortable with this, and I'm quite capable of hitting targets. But what I really do more than most of my mates is I see them first, or I expect to see them, and they pop up where I expect to see them. This is a case in point. McGinn has said enemies ahead because he's heard a truck rolling up down there. I want to get us out of there. So in Discord, I'm saying, hey, boys, we got to go. We got to go. We got to go. This is like a beacon for any other squad in the area. This hill is where all the action is going on. They are hearing this live, loud, and large. And not only that, anyone between us and the zone, if we get a squad coming in from the northwest, we are going to be very, very capably gate kept. Now, what you're going to see in a second is we're going to hear, one, the map is going to pop with noise from someone shooting at McGinn. And two, I am going to see the flames of a molly. That tells me, number one, there is someone in that direction firing. And number two, they've thrown a molly. So they can't be very, very far away. They have to be very, very close. And I'm looking for it. You're going to see. I'm looking over the edge, waiting for McGinn. There's the Molotov, right? I see the Molotov. I know he's close. I hear the gunfire. I start looking directly at the minimap. At the marker on the minimap, and there's McGinn. McGinn took a pounding, but I got all 100 hit points of that guy's damage. I took it all, and that goes on my frag count at the end, despite the fact that McGinn took the hiding for me. And this is exactly where I'm saying, if you can figure out these things that the game is telling you, molly, so he's got to be within 50 meters. Minimap, that is the exact direction he's at. There's a ridge there. He has to be on that ridge line. Bang. So as soon as I come over, I'm hitting that ridge. Now, here's another great example. Okay, I'm going to get 2 knocks there, right? I'm going to go down there and clean up the knock. McGinn gets thirsted, which is very, very unfortunate. Right after he took a hiding on my behalf so I could clear that guy in the ghillie suit. I'm going to go down here and clear the knock, but the second and third kills I get here, I won't even really see the target. I'm just expecting that one of them's knocked, so he'll be revived, or the other guy will be reviving him in this direction. I see a little bit of movement, and I just hip-fire the crap out of that area there, and I get both targets. And this is expected value. Like, where would you be if you were reviving a target? You'd be, like, in the cover of that bush, if possible, next to the ridgeline. That's all there is to it. There's only one guy left, and I'll show you the end of the game just for fun and giggles. Poor old crew drones and I got a little bit mixed up there as to which side of the rock I was going in the big old bang bus. And then unfortunately, I'm going to run into a cactus and crew drones is going to fall down and get knocked out of the VW as we're on the way in. I feel terrible about this. It was a near thing though. We nearly got it done. If you want to do more damage, get better at acquiring targets. If you want to get better at acquiring targets, all you've got to do is let movement draw the eye and learn the patterns of behavior that other people will constantly use. Look for places where there's cover. Look for vehicles that are out of position. Look for markers on the minimap. Look for, just situations that scream danger. And then as you get better at, firing a gun and aiming and strafing and pre-firing and all that kind of stuff, you'll pick up more kills and everything will come together for you. But until then, I hope you can start working on the meta part of the gameplay, like waiting for him to throw a grenade so you can get a headshot. Those are the things that will get you across the line. I'm Bushka. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed that one. Really loving doing the PUBG Mobile stuff at the moment. So stick around. If you want to become a patron, play on the live streams with me and the boys, it's patreon.com/thebushka. And until next time, stay safe. I think there's a link there on the screen now. Stay safe on the battlefield. And bye for now. Au revoir. Eat your veggies. Be nice to your mum. Walk the bloody dog.